Welcome back, Streamer Nation. I'm your host, Michael Simeone, and you're listening to the SP Streamer Podcast, part of the Fantrax and FantraxHQ.com family. I will say, if I sound a little nasally, I apologize. It's because I am fighting through a cold. But you know, whatever. How are you feeling, Lauren?
I'm good. I'm feeling better. Like, I don't have a cold, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, just kind of hanging out. I was contemplating before we went on air. After we record, I want to watch. I'm conflicted because I want to watch some of the Braves game because Kyle Wright is pitching tonight, and then I have one episode left of Ozark, the final episode.
Okay.
So I may have to.
I finished it.
Yeah, we have one left. Yeah, did you like it?
Yes. So it's very hard for me to explain it without trying to ruin anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I love the ending, but it's hard to explain. I love the ending, but it's not what I wanted in a sense. But I wouldn't be able to have the ending. You wouldn't be able to have the ending they gave you if it was what I wanted. So I'm happy with it, but we'll talk about it when you.
Yeah, so I'll watch it. It'll be done by next week. So
okay,
we'll have a little movie discussion thing.
Yeah, we gotta
or a little episode. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about it because just message me after you watch it because there's you'll know what I'm talking. As soon as you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah. So all right, cool. I started watching. I tweeted it. Have you ever seen The Last Kingdom? I don't know if you'd be into it. Amazing show. It's a Netflix show, just finished actually. It's only 5 seasons, but it's like one of those like I want to say like Game of Thrones, but not really that. Like there's no dragons or anything. It's a little bit. It's based on like actual people in history, but it's still made up. If that makes sense. But it's like based on real places and like. The fortresses they talk about are real or were real and like stuff like that. It's based in England, but amazing show.
Interesting. I'll check it out.
Yeah. So
okay.
All right. So today's episode we're gonna talk about we're gonna dive into main event bids and like we always do, and we're gonna kind of actually just discuss some listener questions that we got on Twitter and in the SP Streamer Discord. We missed last week because I had to do something for work and was a little busy, but we are back on this week, even though I'm sick, but we're going to fight through that.
We do it.
All right. So for those in FAAB leagues, last week was a pretty big week because the top 3 most added players were all players who got called up. That is Juan Yepez, Royce Lewis, and Jose Miranda. And all 3 are rookies. All 3 could make an immediate impact. We have to see what happens with Lewis because I wanted to say Seager, but not Seager. Oh my God, the shortstop there, Correa. Looks like his hand injury is not that bad, not broken. So when he comes back, Lewis could be sent down. But out of Yepez, Lewis, and Miranda, do any of them intrigue you? Do you like one better than the other?
Well, I had drafted Miranda in a DC league, and I like him just because it's that kind of contact player, kind of similar to Stephen Kwan, but makes, I like those kind of players that have that as a foundation, because I think that whether you're kind of like a big power bat or speed guy, if you have that foundation, it's really good. So I have a share of Miranda, but I think that they're all intriguing, and they all kind of bring some different things to the game. How about you? Which do you like?
Yeah, I like Miranda too. I think Yepez is interesting because they're hitting him like 5th, and then I think the other day they hit him at cleanup. So he's gonna have some potential there. He's got a little bit of power to him. Yeah, I mean, I like both of them. It looks like they're gonna play every day. They don't hit at the bottom of the lineup, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's tough to tell because all these rookies are struggling. Except I know Whit's coming around, and Julio Rodriguez is starting to hit really well too. So we'll see kind of what happens with those 2 there. But it makes sense. I mean, bids on them out of $1,000, it was highest winning bid was 375 for Yepes. Royce Lewis was 308. Miranda was 217. So people are going pretty big on them. So yeah. A big ad for people. Well, a player that's added in a lot of leagues. I almost added him in one of my leagues, but actually just hit the IL. Was Edward Oliveira's, and which is a shame because he was starting to hit really good, and I was going to put a good amount of money on him too. And when he got pulled, I was like, I'm not doing this. I was like, I can't risk it. So I put a tiny bit in. I didn't get him, but I'm glad I didn't now because it looks like he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks.
I saw about 6 weeks.
6 weeks,
with a strained, what is it, quad? Was that the quadriceps, I think? It's a big bummer if you did drop some money on him, and it's like worst case scenario because it just wasn't even like a full. It's like maybe a day, and then he hits, his thing. So, and it's unfortunate because I feel like we've talked about like Oliveira. The Royals kind of bring him up, bring him down. When is he going to come up? And he finally, gets called up, for this season, and then gets injured, and it's tough luck, I think.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be out. It's like you said, 6 weeks with the quad. So we'll see what happens there. I just realized, by the way, that I am streaming this under the title I had for us last week, which was category leaders. So if you're watching live, we're not talking about
no category leaders. Q&A today.
That is my fault. All right. So another big ad was James Caprillion because he is now in the Oakland rotation. I actually added him in a league. I think he gets Detroit this week, so it made a ton of sense to grab him there. Has some potential. Another big ad was Brandon Drury. He is getting regular playing time. He's been hitting really well. I don't know. I think he's just running hot.
Yep.
Do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah. He's a total hot streak that I think I have no problem riding it right now, but I don't expect a long haul with him.
Yes. The other pitcher who was added in a lot of leagues too is Tyler Wells. I did talk about him in today's What You Need to Know.
Yeah.
And it was mainly basically that it kind of looks legit. I mean, he doesn't walk a lot of hitters. His ERA is sub-4. All of his ERA indicators are staying around the same. I think the ballpark's kind of helping him now. Getting the fence back. So, and he still ranks like towards the top in terms of Stuff Plus, which is Eno Saris's pitching metrics. So, I think there's some potential there, and he's starting to pitch better, and people are starting to catch on. So he got added in 26 leagues this week as well.
Okay. Yeah, and it's surprising. I think with him, I don't think anyone would think that Bruce Zimmerman so far would be playing as well as he's playing. So it's a little bit of a surprise. Maybe, in Baltimore, maybe it does have to do with the wall, but there is stuff involved, and see how long it lasts for both of them.
Yep. And then to round it off, Bryson Stott was added because he's back from AAA for the injured Didi Gregorius. I can't even say his name. And then Martin Perez because he's pitching really well for some reason. I don't believe it.
I know.
I mean, I don't know if anyone really should, but you could ride it while it's hot. Why not? Might as well. I mean, 15-team leagues, it makes sense. You're probably dying for any kind of ratio. So. Makes sense there. All right. That does it for FAAB. If you haven't seen it, Todd does a really good article on SP Streamer every single Monday. It comes out around midday, I would say. So definitely check that out because even if you don't have FAAB, at least you could see who all these really good players are adding and why. And maybe you could jump on them as well for your league before other people catch on.
Yeah, and it also doesn't apply just to NFBC. I think it's a good kind of idea just to see it. It crosses all leagues.
Exactly. All right, so let's get on to the questions. Like I said, I pulled some from our Discord. I asked our Discord chat if anyone has any questions to put in there. So we got a couple from there. We got a couple from Twitter as well. So we're just going to kind of run through them. I thought it'd be a good idea because it's kind of basically currently what's happening. So maybe we could talk about a few players. The first one I talked about as well in what you need to know today, because a lot of people reached out to me yesterday as soon as he had a bad start, and that's Brandon Woodruff. Basically, what's wrong with him? Is he going to be bad moving forward? All that kind of stuff. Basically, people are starting to get worried about him. Kind of like how they were with Cole after his first couple bad starts. And now Cole has a sub-3 ERA.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people don't really like to be patient. But I'll touch on what I discussed real quick. Basically, Woodruff has been insanely unlucky so far. His ERA, which is, as I pull up his page real quick, his ERA is 5.97. Yeah. So the xERA is a 3.55. The FIP is a 3.57. His Sierra is 3.01. But what's most notable is his left on base percentage is 59%. Where on average for his career is 75%. So that means that he's getting unlucky there. His BABIP is 342, which according to his career average is 288. So again, getting super unlucky there. The home run rate is unusually high for him, even though the home run per fly ball percentage is the same. The strikeouts are still there. So I see everything being fine. I think I even broke down his game log. His last 3 starts, he has a 7.71 ERA. But in those last 3 starts, his BABIP is a 0.469, which is insanely high. Yeah. So definitely super unlucky there. Do you kind of agree with me more?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've kind of hit all the major points here with him. And it's once you start looking at, he has a 29.4% strikeout rate. When you start kind of looking at, K minus BB, swinging strike rates, called strikes and whiffs, all those are in line with, his career numbers. I think that he's just unlucky. And I think, looking at those home runs, I had looked it up, 3 of the 4 home runs were coming off of his fastball, but his fastball still has been, it's not like it's been a bad pitch at all. It has a 216 batting average against it. And it has a 28.3% whiff rate. So I just think he's been unlucky. I think it's a little bit of a small sample. And honestly, if you have a league mate that has kind of an itchy trigger finger regarding Brandon Woodruff, bye. I just think that take advantage of that if you can, because you can't really give up on Brandon Woodruff at this point.
No, you can't. And I'm just looking at the biggest the pitchers with the biggest difference between ERA and FIP right now, just out of curiosity. And who's up there, which is insane, is Kevin Gausman. His 2.13 ERA comes with a 0.74 FIP. I don't think I've ever seen a FIP that low.
Kevin Gausman is pitching out of his mind right now.
Yeah, he's just insanely good right now. 0.7 walk percentage.
I know. It's insane.
1 walk on the year.
I know.
Wild. And it just happened. All right. Next one is another pitcher who seems to be getting unlucky as well, and that is Steven Matz. Basically, the question came in is, are Matt's struggles just a case of bad luck? I don't see anything setting off alarm bells other than his almost 400 BABIP. So, again, when you look at BABIP, you want to look at the player's career average BABIP. His is 308, and right now he's at 395 BABIP. Yeah. So basically, it's inflated, showing showing that he's been unlucky on batted balls, which I think is super interesting because we thought it would be the opposite for Matz this year because he has that amazing defense behind him. I didn't get to see his last start. He got blown up again, right? Yeah, I think he got blown up again. He's killing my ratios in one of my leagues, but I did watch his start against the Mets, and that was the most unlucky start I've ever seen in my entire life. I think he ended up, he went 4 innings with 4 earned runs and 6 hits. I'm pretty sure 6 of those hits were in the infield, and it was literally a grounder to a hard grounder to him where he stuck out his glove and it hit off his glove and deflected the wrong way, so he couldn't get the out. It was a play that I think should have been an error, but they didn't call it an error, and then it didn't end the inning. He threw what was clearly should have been a strikeout,
Mm-hmm.
and the ump didn't call it, so it ended up being a walk, and then that led to the inning. Like, it was just insane. Like, I was watching, I was like, if this is what's been happening to him, like, no wonder.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't get to see his last start, so I don't know if that was just bad luck for him or if it was
Mm-hmm.
just bad. But he's interesting because his strikeout rate is up. I mean, he's a 25% strikeout rate.
Yep.
It's better than last year. He's not walking more people. I mean, his FIP and everything look good. The Sierra's a 3.24.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, I mean, I think you have to bench him right now, honestly, unless it's an obvious matchup like Detroit or something. I think he's seen the Giants again, who just annihilated him. So I think you bench him right now unless it's like a flawless matchup, but I feel like he's got to come around.
Yeah, I think that he has been unlucky, and like you said, his strikeout rate is up. So I did notice that. I mean, he is inducing less ground balls, and his current rate of 37.5 is 9 points higher than his career average in favor of more line drives, and he's also getting hit a little bit harder than normal. He has a 10% barrel rate and a 43.8% hard hit rate, which are up from his career averages. So I just think that maybe batters are they're getting some of these hits. They're going for line drives. They're getting hit harder than usual. And I think we're seeing that. But yeah, I think that there is also some kind of unluckiness at play. But again, looking at some of his plate discipline numbers, these are right in line and they're good numbers. So I think they right now, I think you definitely hold him, and he is maybe a little bit more kind of matchup dependent. But I think that these numbers will eventually kind of even themselves out.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then that's when you could start him again. That's why I think I would just bench him, leave him there, and kind of see what happens if you can. I mean, unless it's super shallow, unless you're in like an 18 league or something, like
well,
an 8 or like maybe even 10 teamer. But so I think right now he's a hold. I think what you said too. I mean, it's just he'll come around eventually.
Yeah.
Next question is it time to stash Shane Baz? So if he's somehow still out there in your league, I feel like I don't think he's even available in NFBCs. I'm pretty sure he's rostered 100% of leagues. Yes, I think it's time to grab him. The latest on him is basically he threw 2 innings of live batting practice, and it sounds like as long as there's no setbacks, he will be ready to make his season debut when he's allowed to come back, which is June 6th. So he's almost there. I mean, there's not really.
There's tons of upside here. If he's available, do it. I did look, and he is only rostered in 65% in Yahoo leagues. So if you play in Yahoo, pick him up, and pick him up now, because this is a guy that can absolutely, like, you will be rewarded, once he comes back. So there's just too much upside here to be left on the waiver wire.
Yes, right. All right, next question, which I thought was kind of interesting. Someone actually just randomly asked it because they were trying to pick someone up in the Discord chat, and it was basically, who do you like better long term, Trey Mancini or Josh Naylor? I'll leave this to you first, Lauren.
Long term, I have to say, I'm going to lean Mancini here, just because I know exactly what I'm getting. He's one of the most consistent hitters out there, and I think outside of 2019, where everyone had a beefed up kind of stat line, his numbers are just so consistent across the board. He's going to be a 20 to 25 home run hitter. He's going to give you decent run production, no steals or anything, but also a plus batting average. So I know exactly what I'm getting with Mancini. Right now, Josh Taylor is, super hot. And I think that, if you want to ride him right now in the short term, I would say Naylor, but I think that the question was long term. And so for me, I'm going to lean Mancini.
Yeah, I feel like Naylor is a poor man's Mancini. Like, I think he's going to get you an okay average with like maybe 20 home runs. Because let's put it this way, his barrel rate right now, Naylor, is 6.8%. That's not a very high barrel rate. Whereas you look at Mancini and his is 10.1%. Now Naylor has 4 home runs while Mancini has 1, but I think that will eventually shift and change. So I think Mancini's going to get better average and more power. And, so I just feel like there's no question about, who to take here, because I just think Mancini's going to do what Naylor does, but better. It's not like Naylor gets you speed and where Mancini.
No, I was going to say, unless there was some sort of, upside that Naylor was giving you. I just don't see what it is. And so it's just not worth long-term going with someone you don't really know. And he may lose playing time. Who knows? He could go cold and lose playing time in Cleveland. So.
Yep. All right, this next question is a pretty good one. Who is one player that coming into the season you had either a negative or positive opinion on them, and they have completely reversed your thoughts with their play so far this season?
Well, for me, and we kind of touched upon him a little bit, was Kevin Gausman. I was pretty down on Gausman. I was like, I'm not really buying that move to the AL East. I didn't think that he would do well. And I was just like, no, I was staying away from him. And Kevin Gausman right now is on fire. And I know that some of his stats may regress a little bit, but I was wrong on him to this point. And I just want to list some of these fun facts about him, because it's insane. We talked about a little bit just real quickly. He has a 2.13 ERA. But a lot of his ERA estimators say actually he should even have a better, ERA. He has yet to give up a home run in 38 innings. He's walked 1 batter in 38 innings. My favorite is that he has a 50% chase rate, which is crazy. Yeah. So his splitter is really, it's just really working for him this season. It has a -3 launch angle and a 47.3 whiff rate. It's just, he's playing out of his mind, like I said earlier, and he's got elite contact and zone contact rates right now. He's playing better than just slightly better than what he did last season, and last season was a career year for him. So he's been able to play well, and he's transitioned well in the AL East, and so he's just kind of, I'm like, hey, Kevin Gausman, because before I'm like, Kevin Gausman. So it's Gausman for me.
Yeah. So I went with the pitcher too. And it's going to be, but see, it's hard for me to say 100% because I feel like the reason why I didn't like him, we haven't gotten far enough yet for that to be proven wrong. But that's Carlos Rodon.
Yep, he was my number 2.
But really just afraid of the shoulder injury. If a shoulder injury comes up, I think we still don't know, obviously, if that's going to happen. So I could very well still be right. But he's performing at such a level where even if he just gives you 4 of the 6 months, he's going to be well worth it because his strikeout rate is absurd. Basically 40%. He's untouchable right now. His ERA is 1.80. The Giants basically took him from being amazing last year and almost stepped him up a notch somehow.
It's crazy, I know.
So he's almost becoming not exactly like DeGrom, but he's becoming like DeGrom-esque, where he might have such a good half season where even if he gets hurt and is out the rest of the year, he's going to be so valuable based on where he was going.
Yeah.
So, so I'll say that. I will say a pitcher that I completely turned around on, but it was right before the season started. So I actually did get a share of him, was Justin Verlander. I was not touching him. I was not even looking his way. But you wanted to see him in spring training anyway. When he was pitching in spring training, his stock did go up. But as soon as I saw him in spring training and the way he looked, I was just like, I got to get a share of him. And I turned completely around. But I will say the strikeouts haven't been there as much. But anyway, he's still pitching really well. So
yeah, it's funny though that you brought Rodon because that was my second.
Your other one.
Well, yeah, but it's had a whole injury and that injury risk, and it's not that he necessarily was bad or was a poor player. It's just that risk, and so but who knows? He's playing really well. So like what you said, he could even go out say half season and still have you can still come out ahead.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Next question is: can you talk about Shane Bieber's struggles? I almost said Justin Bieber. I like
we
always
can talk
want
about
to
Justin
say
Bieber struggles as well.
so
many.
So I will say this: I think what we potentially could be seeing with him was what we saw with a couple other pitchers in 2020. It was a shortened season, and he just like balled out and just said, "Screw it, I'm going to throw as hard as possible every start because I only have 2 months to go." Because his velocity has basically tanked.
That's the main culprit.
So in 2018, 2019, threw 93 miles an hour. It went up to 94 in 2020. So we went up a full tick, and that's what made him pitch really, really well. Last year it went down to 92, and now it's down to 91.3. And that's not good. I mean, if you want to talk about like hard contact, like it's just getting his fastball's getting hitting harder and harder now too, as the velocity is dropping. And obviously his performance has dipped. I mean, he went from a 1.63 ERA to 3.17 to 4.13. And his strikeout rate is only 21% right now. I don't know. So I either think A, he balled out in 2020, or B, he was okay and to start last season, and that shoulder just really screwed him up. And that's why I stayed away from him, because you never know with these shoulder injuries. I feel like it's so risky. And he was out for basically most of the year. He came back, and when he came back, I think he pitched well, but his velocity was still down, and that really worried me. So I was staying away from him. A lot of people were saying I'm not worried about him. I feel like there was really two sides to it. Still too early to tell. Only 6 starts, but my opinion, the shoulder was too risky, and I think that's what we could be seeing here too. And maybe it's really still bothering him.
Yeah, and I mean, he can be pitching weird because it is, bothering him. And I think that, like what you said, it's really about this velocity, trend towards like downwards. And in his last outing, I think he finished it. He had an 89.9%. So it was dipping below 90%. That is not good. And I think it's concerning, because his overall contact is at 4 points and his zone contact is at 5 points. People are this is just like a recipe for disaster here with like a low velo. And, like you said, if people are teeing off of his fastballs, and I don't know. I am concerned about him. I know that there are lots of pitchers that have been struggling so far in the season. And I think that there are, a variety of reasons, whether it was kind of a short ramp up time or whatnot. But I think with Bieber and seeing, after, 6 games pitched, just this ticking downwards of the velo, that's really worrisome. And whether he's trying to make up for it and pitching differently, if he still is having some issues, that's concerning as well. And he is one pitcher that I am actually worried about. At least a lower W worry at this point. But say like we were talking about Woodruff earlier. Like I have no concerns about him, but I do have concerns about Bieber.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. And I mean, you're stuck with him now at this point. It's not like you can't trade him. Yeah, it is what it is, and hopefully he starts pitching better.
Yeah.
You can answer this question. I cannot, because Eric Cross likes to be a bastard. Favorite place to get pancakes, Lauren?
I don't go out and get pancakes, not because I hate them like you. I just don't go. If I'm going to have them, then I will make them at home, but it's few and far between.
Okay. All right.
But thank you, Eric, for that question.
No, not thank you. He's lucky I even said it. All right. What about, okay, so we got another question. Basically, first base is so shallow. Who are some underperformers to target, or particularly unheralded waiver wire targets to check out for first base? Start with you, Lauren.
I had a couple. I wasn't sure how deep this person's league is, but I just looked at some Yahoo leagues with under 20% rostership. And, one person that stuck out to me was Diaz. He's just a hitter that I think I think suffers from some name recognition, but I think that he has insanely good plate approach. And he's one of these hitters with good plate discipline. There's a lot of contact that gets made, and he has a sub 20% chase rate, a 93.2% zone contact, and 87% overall contact rate. So he can hit the ball. He'll give you a little bit of pop, maybe 10, 13 home runs, but he's someone that definitely, you can get a good batting average, especially on base leagues. And I think right now you can make a case for, with I think a lot of home run and run production being down, that kind of guys like Yandy Diaz who can get on. I think that you can make an argument for kind of a boost in their values, because you want to be able to get runs however you can get runs, and whether they're through like the Stephen Kwans of the world, Yandy Diaz, whatever. But he's I kind of like him, and he is available, and he's playing every day, and he's eligible at first and third base. So he's under 20% rostered in Yahoo League. So check that out, I guess.
My first baseman is Christian Walker, and basically he's just underperforming. He's gonna go on like a hot run, I think, where he's gonna hit a bunch of home runs. Basically, he's 9th highest in xWOBA amongst first basemen, 2nd highest in barrel rate, 5th highest in hard hit rate, 3rd highest in xSlug. He's only hitting 178, but he's a career 245 hitter, and his XBA is showing 252. So I think he's just a really good pure power hitter who's just hasn't had any luck really. So I think a power surge is going to come from him, and I think if you really need power, he's a really good option. As for someone to add.
I think that's true too. And I also, there was like one other player was Jonathan Scope, who at least according to Yahoo Leagues is only rostered in 23%, and he's someone who's definitely a streaky player for sure. But right now he's been like ice cold to start the season. And he also started last season cold, but you want to get him, before he gets hot, because once he does, he's a pretty decent power bat, and he'll give you a good average, and he will basically contribute everywhere outside of steals. So if you're looking for someone who's not performing right now, Scope is your guy. I actually think that he hit a home run today, so maybe he's starting to catch fire. So
yeah, I like Scope. I think you just know what you're gonna get from him, and it's just solid, like all around player. It's kind of like Swanson. Like Swanson is so streaky, but you just got to go through it because like what he's gonna give you in the end. It's gonna be like 20 home runs and like 10 bags, whatever. And you just kind of deal with the lows and run with the highs. All right, last one. What is going on with Whit Mirrorfield, and why shouldn't we expect him to return to his normal offensive productivity? What are your thoughts, Lauren?
I think that Whit just there's a lot of kind of some bad luck that's going on. He's got a 152 BABIP. Compared to a 324 career. His plate approach and his plate skills look normal at this point, and I think that his hard hit and barrel rates are also in line with career norms. But overall, when you look at his plate discipline, his overall contact is down, as well as his zone contact. So I think if he can figure that out, we should get back to the Whit Mirrorfield. I'm not really concerned. Like I said, I think it's more of a bad luck thing. I did see today that he was finally dropped to 8th in the Royals lineup, which I think I saw someone tweet that was the first time that he's ever done that. So, so he's struggling, but he also has a very long track record of being durable, and you know what you get out of him. So, I think that if you like Whit Mirrorfield and you liked him in the offseason, you definitely should be sticking with Whit Mirrorfield, I think.
Yeah, I think the good thing about him is, you're going to get volume, kind of like what you said, he's going to stay on the field. He's definitely running into some bad luck. I noted here, he's hitting 135, 0 home runs, 3 stolen bases, and a -3 WRC plus, which is wild.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Basically just not hitting anything good at all.
Yeah.
But his BABIP is only 152. So I think Whit's going to be okay. I think you're going to you're just not going to get the Whit Mirrorfield you're used to. So kind of like what you brought up, I think it's all about plate discipline, and it's all still there. He's just making a little less contact. Like it's not like he's over swinging. He's not swinging too much. He is still making contact. It's just like slightly less.
Yeah.
Like his zone contact is down 3%. You know, it's nothing too crazy. But I do fear, you know, he's getting older. So I think like maybe we'll see this year, like maybe we'll start to see a little decline in him, and maybe we'll see, you know, we're not going to see that high of an average. Maybe we'll see like a 260 average where he steals like maybe 20 bags, because his sprint speed is still there. It's like 87th percentile, but I just think we're going to maybe start to see him diminish a little bit. I just have a feeling.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Just a little bit, though, not a lot.
And I do think, though, that you actually may see that. I know you may see a little bit in the stolen bases, but then I think, you know, if you start to see it in the power, too, especially with the dead end ball, you know, I think that, you know, last year he had 10 home runs in 162 games. So, and his home run rate has kind of, he had 16 in 2019 and then, you know, 10 in 2021. You know, he may be hard pressed to get to that 10 this season if he kind of continues at that rate. And so at that point, he's, you know, he gives you, you know, solid run production numbers. But you're then maybe also looking at someone, you know, if you think that if the batting average is going down, and then, you know, say he's a 23 stolen base guy, you just kind of have to look at where he fits in your roster then, especially if that power starts to go.
Yeah. I think I had him rostered last year, and I think he had like a bunch of home runs in April, and then he just kind of like didn't really do much after that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you get hot one month and hit like 4 home runs.
I mean, and a lot of times, you know, if that happens, that just makes up for this poor production. So
exactly.
It depends. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see there. All right, that does it for this episode. Thanks for everyone sending your questions. Lauren, how are you feeling about the Braves so far?
I'm liking the Braves. I saw them a couple weeks ago. I had to go out of town for a wedding, and
right.
Saw the game. It was good. I saw the game that Acuna came back at, so that was very exciting.
Nice.
And I didn't find out till I was at the airport, and I was like, and you know, I saw the news. It's like, like Acuna's coming. I was like, I'm going to the game tonight. So that was fun. And I'd never been to Truist Field before, so yeah, we had a good time down there. But I like the Braves. I'm, you know, been surprised at kind of their pitching, and Kyle Wright in particular has been really fun to watch. And I'm excited about the Braves. And are you excited about your Mets? Because you should be.
I was going to say, do you know who's first in that division, though?
Yeah, I do. But listen, I do, and I think that it's well deserved. So, I mean, the Mets are just steamrolling teams right now.
It's I'm trying not to get excited still, because I don't know. There's just like, and people have said it even before that crazy comeback that they had. I just felt like
which was crazy. Yeah,
the team feels different to me. Like it just feels like they're gonna do something this year. I'm not saying win it all, but I think like they can make like a decent run.
Yeah.
But I'm still afraid to think that, because it's the Mets. This month, watch us. You know, the rest of the month, watch us win like 3 games. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic.
Well, they have been fun to watch. And the Nats haven't been as fun to watch, but I may, you know, the Mets are in town, and so I actually may catch a game just because, not to see the Nats, but to see the Mets. But they've been really great, and their pitching has been phenomenal, and everyone's just been on right now with that team.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, it's just Pete Alonso is just
which is fun. I think as a fan like of a team that does that, it's because you don't always get that, so it's fun when your team does that on both sides.
Yeah, it's been nice to see after years of torture. So
see,
maybe we could keep the World Series championship within the division.
Maybe we can. I think should that be the goal?
If the Mets win the World Series this year, you probably won't hear from me for like 3 days. I'm just warning you and all of Twitter right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to disappear for 3 days.
I think all Mets fans would disappear. You know, I think that it would just be like this collective, you know, multi-day hangover, you know.
I 100% would go see the parade and take all for it.
Oh yeah,
that will
100%
would happen. Yep. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I know they're not going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
there you go. There's the Mets fan talking.
All right, all right. That does it for this week. You follow me on Twitter at SPStreamer. You follow Lauren on Twitter at LK Auerbach. We will hopefully be back next week. Hopefully, I won't have a cold, and hopefully, all of your fantasy teams are doing well. Yeah. Please rate and review if you enjoy our podcast. Check our website, spstreamer.com, and we will see you all